Let's learn some history. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to Mr. Peabody and Sherman. This is a 2014 animated movie that is based off of a series of segments that were part of the old Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends series that came out decades before I was even born. That I would watch on like Boomerang and stuff. But I have seen the not necessarily all of it, very unlikely all of it, but I have seen an amount of the segments in the past when I was like a kid and growing up and watching all of this, and yeah, like it was interesting. From what I remember, it just like it taught about history and stuff. And this movie came out like a decade ago, and I just at the time wasn't really interested in it. Like I didn't have any investment in the movie. I didn't really have a desire to watch it. Um, but now we're getting to it. This is a donation reward for Venom, and I'm interested to see what this is like because I do have a somewhat interest in history. There's certain parts of history that are very interesting, that are very exciting to learn about and fun to learn about. But there are some parts that are a bit of a drag. It just depends on what you're learning about. And I think part of it is like, okay, I have heard about World War II so many goddamn times. It's like, I don't want to hear about that again. But then there's other parts that it's like, oh, this is fresh and new, and this is really interesting. And you get a lot of that from like even the history of the entire world, I guess, by Bill Wirtz. Like you see a lot of that in that video. I feel like I feel like videos like that would just go completely hand in hand with the kind of historical knowledge that Mr. Peabody and Sherman is all about. So I'm definitely interested to see what this is because I don't actually know like anything in regards to the plot of this movie. Like, how do they take these like segments and make it into a full movie? I don't know, and I don't know like in terms of voice acting who's in this because this came out like I said like 2014. The original cartoons are like 60s, I think 50s, 60s, somewhere around there. Um, so it's like almost guaranteed it's not the same VAs. Um, so I have no idea. Like, they probably have a couple celebrity voices, if we're being honest. But I'm wondering who is voicing these characters in this, and I wonder if there's going to be like any like Rocky and Bullwinkle appearances. Considering, that would be fun. I wouldn't mind seeing Natasha. I think that was her name, right? Natasha. Boris and Natasha. I believe that was them. It's been a while, to be fair. Um, but yeah, I'm definitely interested to see what this is like. It's pretty average length for a movie, so definitely excited. But movies aren't the only thing we do on this channel. We also have show reactions, two every day during the weekdays, Monday through Friday. Movies like this are every Saturday and Sunday. We also do YouTube reactions every Monday and gaming streams on Wednesdays. Currently, we are playing Momodora Moonlit Farewell for the gaming streams, but we're going to be finishing that up pretty soon. Don't know exactly how soon. Hell, by the time you're seeing this, we might have already finished it up. I'm pre-recording this during the week. You're seeing this on Saturday. So I'm actually pre-recording this before Wednesday. So you might have already seen the end of Momodora Moonlit Farewell, but hard to say. Hard to say when I'm doing it in the way I am, pre-recording and all. But yeah, we have shows every day of the week, a bunch of different kinds of shows as well. Things are consistently changing out. So yeah, there's always something for everyone on the channel. But that all being said, we're going to get into this now, so let's find out what this movie has in store. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the movie. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I looked up a little bit of Mr. Peabody's Improbable History, or whatever the fuck it's called. And yeah, it seems to be kind of the same thing. They take the Wayback Machine to a certain time period, interact with the people of the time, yada yada. Notable thing I was wondering was, in the original, was Sherman Mr. Peabody's adopted son? And apparently he was, from what I read. So that was always a thing. I guess didn't remember because it's been a long time, or maybe I just didn't know. I was like a kid when I watched those on the Rocky and Bullwinkle thing, so it's like, yeah, maybe I just never knew. Maybe I never saw the episode where that was explained or something. So let's talk about this movie. So there's a notable cast in here, a lot of whom I did not, and I guess maybe would not recognize, like right away, like Lake Bell being in there. I did recognize two of them. I recognized Patrick Warburton as Agamemnon, and when I was hearing Einstein talk, I didn't say anything because I was nowhere near sure, but I was thinking he did sound kind of like Mel Brooks. And I'm trying to like piece it together every time he's saying, but I was not confident enough to say it, so I just didn't bother. But yeah, that was him. And there were a lot of others in here too that I know, like Stephen Colbert being being the dad and everything. Apparently, the girl was played by Ariel Winter, who was in Modern Family, but I know her mostly from the video game The Quarry, which is by the same creators as Until Dawn. So I know her from that, funny enough. And there's various others, of course. But outside of the star-studded cast, I think my opinion on this movie was pretty well received during the reaction. I did not like this. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not the worst movie I've seen or anything, but there was so much about it that was annoying me. Because listen, I don't 100% know how the originals went, because I only went back and watched like a little bit of it in between here, just because I wanted to see like if the general idea was the same. So I didn't really like see a lot of it, but what I thought I remembered at least was that like this was a series or of segments within the Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends show that would teach kids about history. And there's some aspects of that in here, like the fact that George Washington didn't really chop down a cherry tree. That's a myth and everything. But there's a lot of things that are either just inaccurate, ridiculously stereotyped. Like, my God, some of the shit in here is actually, like, almost feels offensive. I don't know, like, what, like, people of the actual, cultures and whatnot would think, but, like, some of the stuff in here was just, like, ew, kind of. Like, the way they portrayed, like, the different cultures and stuff, the way they spoke, the things they spoke about. Like, oh, we're Italian, we have to talk about pasta. It's like, oh my fucking God. It's just, it's so bad. And then the story, it's like, it starts off with fourth wall breaking, it ends off with fourth wall breaking. It's a thing multiple things have done, but it's rarely anything special. But then after that, that kind of disappears for the rest of the movie until the end, and it's just like, oh, we're gonna go from this fourth wall breaking thing where we're addressing the audience, and then we're just gonna go into like a story where Mr. Peabody really causes all the problems, never takes accountability for it, and it's just what the fuck. Like, seriously, did anyone else notice that? Every problem in this was because of Mr. Peabody. He either did not trust Sherman at all, did not, like, properly teach him about things, did not properly handle situations. It's like every problem was caused by Mr. Peabody. This is a 7-year-old kid he has here. 7 fucking years old. Do you know how fucking dumb a 7-year-old is? I don't even care how smart Mr. Peabody is and how much, like, knowledge he did instill into this kid. This kid is a fucking train wreck. Sherman is dumb as bricks, and that is made very clear the entire film. He is not a smart kid. He has some knowledge instilled into him, but he's not a smart kid. Because here's the thing that a lot of people don't really acknowledge or maybe even realize, that up until a certain point, kids don't really have any form of self-consciousness to them. It's about like 6 or so, 6, 7, 5, like between like 5 and 7, somewhere in that range, where kids usually gain a sense of self. They gain like this like genuine consciousness. Prior to that, they're practically just balls of energy and, you know, what's the word? Mimicry. That wasn't the word I was trying to think of, but that works excellently. That's all they do. Once they start to gain a consciousness, they're still really fucking dumb at that point. That's why we have school to start teaching them. And that's why kids usually start going to school around 5, 6 years old. Because that's when their consciousness starts coming in and when they are able to start forming these thoughts. For some reason, Sherman didn't start going to school until 7 and was so woefully unprepared for it. Like, as smart as Mr. Peabody is, like, he didn't even consider that he would have to teach Sherman about how to handle bullies or shit. Like, come the fuck on. How much lack of foresight do you have to have? That is such a major part of going through school that kids need to be taught about. It's like, Jesus fuck. And then the entire movie, it's like, oh, we go to this place and cause these problems. We go to this place and cause these problems. Everything's kind of compounding together. And it's just like, it's all because of Mr. Peabody. I can't blame Sherman at all. Hell, I don't even blame the girl. She's a fucking 7-year-old girl. She barely has consciousness. Can't blame her for this shit. The only reason a 7-year-old girl would even act so bratty and, you know, bullyish in the first place is because that's how she would be raised and taught. If anything, you'd have to blame the parents. And again, that's how it goes with Sherman, too. You have to look at his influences. And in this case, the influences he grew up with were his father, Mr. Peabody, and the various people, like Leonardo da Vinci and stuff. It's like all of these people would have had to have been, like, negative influences on him. And it's just like every single, like, interpretation of these historical people, these historical figures, was so ridiculous. And then you bring in the fucking Trojan War shit, which is, like, questionable if it even happened. And you bring on the shit about Agamemnon and his father being, like, the bull of Minos or whatever. And it's like, I'm sorry, why are you bringing fucking mythology into this? As if it's historical fact. That is not how this works. Oh my god. And then they just solve their problem in the end by, you know, having the lady be kidnapped and brought into ancient times, because that's not a problem at all. No. You have a bad person in your life, just fucking get rid of them. It's like, yeah, a great lesson for the kids to learn. Again, there's movies that are worse than this. There's both animated, live action. There are movies that are worse than this, but my god, this was just bad. Not to mention, there was so much of it that was so fucking just cringy. It's like, oh, we're just gonna throw in all of these cringy ass puns that aren't even good, just for the sake of like humor. It's not even funny. And again, the interpretations of the characters, like even outside of just inaccuracies, are really fucking weird. Like, oh yeah, that's how I believe Leonardo da Vinci was. That's how I believe uh, Mona Lisa was, or the the soldiers who would have invaded Troy and everything. That's how I believe these historical figures are. Totally, absolutely. You know, just it didn't make me care for the characters. It just made me like disappointed the entire time. And it's just I kind of want to see like what people think of this movie, because I'm just like flabbergasted by how bad this was. Let me see if I can find the movie here. Okay. Let me see what people thought of this. Reception. 81%? Like I always say, don't trust Rotten Tomatoes. Shit. Critical consensus reads, Mr. Peabody and Sherman offers a surprisingly entertaining burst of colorful all ages fun. What was entertaining about like just everything being wrong? Despite its dated source material and rather convoluted, very convoluted plot, I'll give you that. Peter Bradshaw of The Guardian said the film takes a little while for the audience to get up to speed. Up to speed to what? But once this is achieved, there's an awful lot of unexpected. There's no fun to be had. There is no fun. It is not fun. It is stressful. The entire time I'm just irritated. Mark Kermode of the sister paper The Observer declared, pleasant to report then that DreamWorks' latest offers a fairly consistent stream of sight gags and vocal slapstick. No, it doesn't. Even as the plot veers wildly down a wormhole in the... It is not intermittently witty. It is not witty at all. Billy, this name is wild, so if I mispronounce it, I don't know how else it was supposed to be pronounced, but Bill Goody Koontz of the Arizona Republic gave the film 2.5 stars out of 5, saying it retains the main characters, the Wayback Machine, the trips through history, but not the sense of nuttiness that made the TV cartoon so delightful. I mean, there's nothing delightful about it, so yeah. I mean, this version. Um, Okay, Tom Huddleston of Time Out gave the film 2 out of 5 stars, and part of what he said here says, "But there's little here for any but the most easy to please youngsters." That I'll get. That's like the first one here. I'll give you here. It's like if you're an easy to please kid, it's like yeah, you'll be fine. But Perry Sabert, writing for AllMovie, gave the movie 2 out of 5 as well, calling the movie long, loud, and visually exhausting, and saying that it feels less like an attempt to update a boomer classic for millennials than a prime example of how lazy marketing guys hold sway over what movies get made. There's a good one for you. That's one we can agree on. There's like so much positivity around this movie apparently, and it just confuses the shit out of me. The only real positive thing I'll give is the voice cast did a great job. Like Ty Burrell as Peabody was great. He genuinely sold it. Max Charles, I have no clue who that is at all. Um, Apparently he's Keon from The Lion Guard, but I never saw that. Um, and he was a young Peter Parker in the Amazing Spider-Man series. But apparently, like I haven't seen much with him in it. He was good for what he was supposed to be. Ariel Winter as Penny was good. Stephen Colbert obviously funny. Leslie Mann, Allison Janney, Stanley Tucci was apparently Da Vinci, and it's just like the fuck. Stanley Tucci, you're better than this. It was a good performance, but still, he's better than that. Patrick Warburton is Patrick Warburton. He's always good. King Tut was apparently Zach Callison. Steven Universe was King Tut. That's kind of funny. that's kind of funny to me. That's funnier than the movie actually was. And King Tut's vizier, was Steve Valentine, who was apparently in Uncharted 2. Um, yeah, and Mel Brooks was Albert Einstein. Lake Bell was Mona Lisa. Jess Harnell was a bunch of characters. Apparently, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Bill Clinton, and Isaac Newton. Odysseus. Why was Odysseus, by the way, some like moron character? Like, what the fuck? They put Odysseus in it and they make him just an utter moron. Odysseus is like, if you read the Odyssey, is a pretty smart fucking dude. Uh, it's just really wild that it had such a great cast who did a great job for what they were given, but what they were given was not good. And if you like this movie, that's fine. I'm just airing out my opinion. I'm just sharing what I thought of the film. I didn't like this. If you did, that's great. I support that, and I hope that nothing I say changes your mind, because I'm not trying to do that. I'm just simply sharing what I thought of it. I'm not trying to change your mind. I don't want to change your mind. I want you to form your own opinions based on your own experiences. If you thought this was a fun, enjoyable, funny movie, that's great. And I'm not going to try to take that away from you. I'm just saying, for me, it wasn't. I did not have a good time with this. I didn't think it was very funny. There was maybe like one or two jokes that I liked. Um, and honestly, outside of the characters and I guess the visuals were fine. Outside of that, it's like, really, I didn't like anything with the characters or the story. And as I've stated many times in the past, those are kind of the most important things for me when it comes to a movie or a show or a game or whatnot. When it's supposed to like be like this, when you're supposed to care about the characters and the story and all of that. So yeah, it clearly was not for me. I guess that's the nicest way to put it. It's not for me. If you loved it, awesome. I support that, and I hope you continue to love it. But like I said, not my thing. But that tends to happen. Not everything I'm going to react to, movies or otherwise, are going to be my thing. Um, because we do react to so much on this channel. Monday through Friday, we react to two shows every day, as well as YouTube reactions on Monday and a gaming live stream on Wednesdays. We do two movies every weekend, every Saturday and Sunday. We have a good amount of stuff we're reacting to. Not everything's going to hit, but a lot of it does, and I enjoy doing these reactions, even if not everything is going to work for me. Because I mean, I don't know until I see it most of the time if it's going to be something I really love. So, but that's a great thing about reacting to as much as we do on this channel, and for as wide of a variety of stuff as we do. Like, very often we have a good like variety of shows that we're reacting to, a bunch of different genres, time periods, just everything is so different and unique, and it continuously changes as time goes on. We bring in new shows, we bring in new movies, and it's just exciting to see which ones end up being those hits and which ones are the misses. So, yeah, as long as we continue just enjoying what we enjoy and checking out everything we can, we're going to find probably just as many, if not more, hits than we ever do misses. So, hey, I think that's worth it. But tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this movie? What did you think of Mr. Peabody and Sherman? I always want to like say Sherman and Mr. Peabody, or no, the way I always want to say it is Peabody and Mr. Sherman. I don't know why. I have no clue why, because I know it's Mr. Peabody, but for some reason my mind wants to put Mr. after the and I don't know why. But tell me what you thought down in the comments below. Um, Hopefully you enjoyed it a lot more than I did. But let me know your thoughts either way. For now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.